Preface to Cycling in the Alps by C.L. Freeston. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please contact LibriVox.org. Cycling in the Alps, with some notes on the chief passes, by C.L. Freeston, with 24 full-page drawings by A.R. Quinton. London, Grant Richards, 1900. To my fellow members of the Cyclist Touring Club, this book is fraternally inscribed. Preface. An author is the worst of all persons to appraise the value of his own work. He is none the less the best able to set forth his aims and intentions, and a preface is usually regarded as the most convenient medium for the statement thereof. This little book, then, is an attempt to introduce to a wider public the delights of the Alpine passes from the cycling point of view. So much has been written about Switzerland that it savours of the impossible to add anything that is new. Yet I make bold to say that the majority of Britons are all but entirely unaware of the extent to which the higher regions of that glorious country and the adjoining Tyrol are permeated by a system of skilfully contrived carriage roads. Still less are they aware of the fact that on every one of these it is not only feasible to cycle, but to do so with a fullness of enjoyment that is unattainable in any other part of Europe, or indeed of the world. For though there are much higher ranges than the Alps, there are none on which the road-making engineer has achieved so many triumphs. Of a truth, I have heard some persons talk as though a pass were something up which a cycle must be carried, and down which the best that could be hoped for would be that the cycle might be wheeled. The realities of the case I have endeavoured to make plain in the pages which follow. The detailed descriptions of the passes with which I have to deal were originally published in the pages of the Cyclist Touring Club Gazette, and are here reprinted with revisions. I have added several chapters, however, which I hope will materially enhance the value of the articles as they originally appeared. The touring cyclist is, above all things, practical, and in the new matter I have endeavoured to assist him with information and advice, with which I myself should have been only too glad to have been forearmed, had it been available when I started on the journeys herein described. In the chapters, moreover, which deal with individual passes, I have made practicality paramount throughout, and if the oft-recurrent inclusion of figures as to mileages, gradients, and altitudes has involved a method of narration which is mosaic, and perhaps even prosaic, the traveller who does more than merely read this book, and takes his cycle over the highways it describes, will not, I trust, be inclined to quarrel with the author on the question of literary style. C.L.F. May 1900. End of preface. Chapter 1 of Cycling in the Alps by C.L. Freeston. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Introductory. Very nebulous ideas are prevalent with respect to Alpine cycling. The available literature upon the subject is extremely scanty, for which reason it is scarcely to be wondered at if the pushing of a machine up a long pass is regarded by many as a ludicrous performance, involving an enormous amount of labour, with little by way of recompense. Others there are who imagine that though there is much climbing, there is more coasting of the risky sort, and that mad downward flights for dozens of miles, with vertiginous gyrations round appalling curves, are the normal accompaniments of cycling on the passes. The possibility of there being intervening stretches of level road, or of the scenery rewarding to a manifold degree such difficulties and dangers as may be met with on the slopes, is too readily ignored by either party. It is indeed the scenery which is the leading factor in the justification of Alpine cycling which I venture to set forth. Unless the traveller is a pedestrian, or prepared to endure the stuffy discomforts of the diligence, he will never rise to the glorious heights, nor enjoy the entrancing views that are open to the cyclist who is not afraid of work. Now this is a consideration which cannot be too forcibly impressed upon the notice of those who have not yet been to Switzerland or the Austrian.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?